Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention please. Take a seat if you can find one. Just a few parish notices before we start this evening's entertainment. On the 4th of November, this Saturday, we have the Kensington Antique Fair, St Cuthbert's Church. I think Harrison Goldman, club member, is organising this. On the 18th of November, we have the Candlelight Club Winter Ball. And on the 2nd of December, we have the New Sheridan Club Christmas Party. Hey! Has a Jeeves and Worcester theme. It's Jeeves and the Yuletide Spirit. Games will include knocking a policeman's helmet off with a bread roll and finding the cow creamer, for those of you who know your Worcester. Indeed. The next meeting is on the 6th of December, where Luca will talk on again on part 2 of his architectural modernism, something in form and spirit. I can't read my own writing. Newness in form and spirit. Talking of Luca, he has some giveaways in the corner there, some stolen goods he wishes to get rid of fairly quickly. So
what to handle, eh?
Yeah, indeed, yes. So help yourself to them. And now to tonight's talk. We're glad to welcome back Essex by popular demand. To talk yet again on Chips Channon's Diary.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Clayton reminded me that this was my 4th and record talk on Chips Channon. I'd quite forgotten that I had originally given a talk on the edited diaries, which were published in 1962, and bear no relation to the Unexpurgated Diaries that which were issued.
Some relation, sure.
Well, very little. I mean, like chalk and cheese. Anyway, so as usual, I've been overwhelmed by the response by club members to news of this talk. But after some consideration, I've decided to go ahead with it anyway. In this last volume of the Unexpurgated Diaries, which begin in 1943, Chips is no longer PBS to RAB Butler at the Foreign Office. Butler moved to Minister of Education in 1941, and in Chips' word, he had no interest in hanging around schools and dealing with teachers and such like. And he's out of favour with the new Prime Minister Winston Churchill because Chips had been a close ally of the deposed Neville Chamberlain. Chips becomes further footloose and fancy-free when the Conservatives move into opposition after their surprise defeat to Labour in 1945. He increasingly has money worries with the impending divorce from his estranged wife, Lady Honour Guinness, and moves in more theatrical circles, beginning a relationship with the leading playwright of the day, Terence Rattigan, while his partner, Peter Coates, is away in India as ADC to Lord Wavell. 1943. A last communication came from my American attorneys. My mother's will has been found. She leaves me all the Channon property. He's American. His wealth came initially from his. They had a shipping business in Chicago, and this is what he's talking about. All the Channon property, which was mine anyway, since my father left it to me heavily mortgaged. So I came into it for a second time, only free of debt. Wednesday, 8 September, I lunched with Laura Corrigan at the Wings Club at 11 Grosvenor Place. This is Laura Corrigan. She was an American and came from a fairly ordinary background, but she married very well. She married a steel magnate who died just before the war, and she came into shares worth about $21 million a year. Sorry, $21 million, which gave her an income of 800, equivalent to $17 million today. That's annual. But she lived in London. She was a society artist. A lot of London society sort of looked down on it for some reason, but I mean, you know, you couldn't get more snooty and Chips, and he was very fond of it. Anyway, I lunched with Lord Cromwell at the Wynn's Club at 11 Grosvenor Place. This club, her creation, but my idea of success, and was crowded. I rested a little in the afternoon, then I had my derriere cleaned out and immediately felt rejuvenated. This treatment, which lasts for an hour, always has a buoyant effect. You may think this colonic irrigation became fashionable with the late Princess of Wales, but he's been around a long time. I'm not certain, but I mean, he thought it always happened.
1950s was the first fashion that started.
Well, this is 1943.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of the crowd.
Anyway, Tuesday 28th December. I did not attend Valentine Kenmare's memorial requiem. This is Valentine Kenmare. He was an Irish aristocrat. They didn't really have any money. There's a lot of Irish aristocrats, didn't they? Had Latin but no money. And he actually worked as a sort of gossip columnist for the Daily Express, and he was bankrolled by Lord Beaverbrook. And he used to spend enormous amounts of money on fine Havana cigars, Selrose suits, champagne, you name it. Anyway, I did not attend, he died at 52, unsurprisingly. I did not attend Valentine Kenmare's memorial requiem mass this morning. I cannot become like Lady Oxford and pass my life at memorial services. I hear it was crowded with Catholics and others. He was a popular, fantastic Falstaffian figure. The dashing, showy widow has now buried 4 husbands, and she was looking out for a 5th, and will find one. He had a tempestuous relationship with a lady called Doris de la Vigne, who you may, she was the great aunt of Poppy and Cara de Vigne, who are reasonably well known these days, but she spent most of his money, and unfortunately she committed suicide just after the war. Anyway, Saturday, September 2nd of October, the Duke of Wellington has been killed. He was plain, half Gaga and wholly unattractive, although he's Peter, that's Peter Coates' cousin. But what is important and staggering is that Jerry Wellesley, and that's Jerry Wellesley, he was a friend of Chips, but they fell out, is now Duke of Wellington at the age of 58. His lifetime dream has come true. He has a horrible character, cold, pompous, frigid, and he's very common for all his considerable erudition and grand manner. Chips is often very, very we could say honest, but he's very disparaging of people. Tuesday, 5th of October, walked with Peter to the India office and had to rush to the House of Commons as I had an attack of diarrhoea. I arrived just too late.
Irrigation, I imagine.
Yes.
Self-irrigation.
I arrived just too late after an embarrassing disaster which luckily nobody observed. Friday 8th October, about 6, Dinah Cooper rang me up. That's Peter Coates. That's Dinah Cooper, Lady Dinah Cooper, who was just often described as the most beautiful woman of her time. She was married to Duff Cooper, who was a quite high-ranking Conservative MP, where she had actually met the Wavels in a lift. That's Lord Wavell. The Field Marshal had insisted on her coming to his apartment for a drink, and she was funking it. She loathes Lady Wavell. I was soon bullied into coming to the Dorchester, and we discovered the Field Marshal munching tomato sandwiches and drinking beer. We stayed for a quarter of an hour and drank gin. Tuesday, 19th October, I've stopped taking all drugs, tonics and vitamin pills. In consequence, my tongue is in better shape, but I'm dreadfully depressed. Sunday, 24th October, slept well, sans drugs. Certainly I look younger than any of my contemporaries, but I'm not tired of too much gin and fornication. I hate the former and adore the latter. Tuesday, 4th of November, Alan Lennox Boyd, that's Alan Lennox Boyd, who was Chips' brother-in-law. They were very close in many ways. He was a Conservative MP. Now he's married with children, about 4 or 5 children I think, but he's largely involved in homosexual dalliances. And he married, or Chips arranged for him to marry Patsy Guinness, who was the sister of Honor Guinness, who Chips was married to, and so he had quite a large fortune to spend. Tuesday, 4th November, Alan rang from Yarmouth. He was out last night on his boat. He actually was, in the war, he was a naval officer and had a battle with the Boche. His boat was hit. He suggests meeting at Kelvedon for the various purposes. I shall see. Saturday, 13th November, a brief note arrived from Honor this morning demanding a divorce. What am I to do? 3 years have not yet expired. That's on the right is Lady Honor. That's the best photo I get of her in that time. She eventually married this chap on the left who was a Czech airman, but she's been separated with Chips for some while. And Chips is worried about the impending divorce because although he has income from his American mother and father, which I briefly mentioned, he's largely worried about being cut off from the Guinness money. He's a director of the brewery, and most of his money comes from being married to Lady Honor Guinness. Brief note arrived on this morning, demand divorce, blah blah blah. Okay, Friday 19th November, I gave a dinner party for Gordon Grimsdale. It's Gordon Grimsdale, he was a Major General in the Army. Mrs. Keppel was the showpiece. Eve Curie, smart and handsome. Cecil Beaton, gay and graceful. In those days, gay was still
Not a euphemism.
It gradually soon becomes what we know it today, but just now it isn't. Leslie Hall, Benicia, benign and Bourbonic, fine food and adequate wine, candlelight and conversation. I took to Eve Curry. I felt that she would not be averse to an affair with me. Sex style, perhaps. Saturday, 20th November, lunch with Grimsdale at Bucks Club. Luncheon costing nearly £3. That's about £175 a day because of oysters. Sunday, 21st November, overhead at Bucks and I'm liverish in consequence. Everything, one's success, happiness, even sex and appearance depends on one's liver. There you go. Wednesday, 24th November, I was at the opening of Parliament by the King. I was at the opening of Parliament by the King and Queen, but I couldn't get there, so I had to attend a Guinness meeting. I rushed away at lunch at the Spanish Assembly. I was later taken back to find Jerry Wellesley, the old cold farceur, now Duke of Wellington. The food was so excellent I overate and fell asleep in the afternoon. Thursday, 25th November, to the House. It was dull, lunched and dozed there. He does an awful lot of dozing at the House of Commons. Monday, 13th December, in a Bond Street jeweller's where I bought a Fabergé enamel case, I saw an extraordinary marionette of a woman, or was it a man, in grey flannel trousers, a wide leather belt, masculine overcoat and a man's brown felt hat. It was a frightening appearance, but her hair was golden dyed and long. But it was Gladys Lady Marlborough, who was French, but she was getting on a bit by this time. As I gazed at this terrifying apparition, I recognised Gladys Marlborough, once the world's most beautiful woman, the toast of Paris, the love of Proust, and now an overpainted, mad-looking lesbian. Gladys Marlborough looked like a boy in a male brothel in Fez. Monday, 20th of December, Christmas presents pour in. The English are not lavish. My dear mother-in-law sends a seal, not a live seal, but a seal that you would use to wax seal, yes. Neither pretty nor valuable. Honour sends me a tiny chipped tortoiseshell box worth a shilling. Circa Londonderry, a silver box with saccharin. But Laura Corrigan has sent me a cheque for £25, which is about £1,460, 6 bottles of expensive drink, a huge turkey and 2 chickens. As I said, she can comfortably afford it. Wednesday, 22nd of December, I've dispatched 100 cards and letters and I'm giving 42 presents. The festival cost me around 250, perhaps more. It's about £14,000 today. So he was a lavish spender. He was always very generous. Friday, 24th of December, old Victor Bower in Lownbury has died. He was 76. We bought his house for him when he had his financial crash in 1935. He was always alleged to have murdered his wife's first husband, Henry, and afterwards he married a wealthy widow and even took the name, as well as the money, of his predecessor. He wore velvets, and it is said his wife's jewels, and fraternised with guardsmen. 1944. Monday 3rd of January. My passport shows that I'm not seriously insolvent financially. That is something. Well, I seem to have spent about 9,000 in cash last year. That's about £506,000 in today's money, which is an immense sum considering current taxation. I must retrench seriously for a time. He never really does. Wednesday 5th of January. A letter from my mother-in-law saying that she and Lord Ivy withdraw their opposition to divorce. That I'm now free. That the decision now lies with me. What should I do? I dread it, yet feel deep down that to go through with it is the wisest course. He's also concerned because, although he has all these, it was a sort of thing with MPs at that time. They were married, even though they were sort of engaged in a lot of homosexual dalliances, and he's worried that, he's seen at Southend that they won't take it very well once he's divorced. Tuesday 18th of January, I sat with Alan Unexpurgated as he drank 2 brandies and ginger ales, his usual morning ration. Yesterday, Patsy gave him, that's his wife, 13,000. That's £710,900. I mean, the amount of money that Guinness had at that stage, it was just phenomenal. He came to breakfast and we were here, with me here, which forced me to be in a long day too early. Saturday, 22nd of January. Lunch with Alan at the RAC club, where we had a Turkish bar together and watched the unsophisticated Yankee officers strip. They are muscular, hairy, and wear quaint drawers. Monday, 24th of January. An immense lunch of oysters at Butt's Club, which cheered me immediately. Butt's Club was full of fools and soldiers overeating, over-gossiping and over-drinking. Tuesday, 8th of February, both Ivies at lunch. That is Lord and Lady Ivy. They're they're the second, he's the second Lord Ivy in the Guinness family, brewing family, immensely wealthy. And Chips is married, as I say, to Lady Honor Guinness, who is one of their daughters. They had 3 daughters. Both Ivies to lunch. They were sweet, alert, intelligent. Talked of Honor, who has promised not to marry Woodman. This is a chap in Essex she was going to marry but never did quite, for at least 2 years after she gets her divorce. They think that she will be an eccentric, will leave Woodman and probably travel in Syria. Wednesday night, February, arranging to Veronica Hornby, ex-Blackwood at Claridge's, and she told me of a chance meeting she had with Mrs. Woodman, as Honor calls herself. It was in a pub. Both she and Woodman were very drunk indeed and quarrelling openly. To this my wife has fallen, consorting with the lowest of horse copers and publicans. This chap Woodman was a horse coper, if you know what a horse coper is. I'm not sure I do. Walking in the street with Enid Paget and Susie Wynne on either arm, we literally collided with an American officer and recognised General Eisenhower. He apologised politely. It is an unattractive appearance. Monday, 14th of February. Dined with the Killings, a Trollopian little couple with political and perhaps social ambitions. Hitchinbrooks I found him quite absurd and ingenue but well-meaning, and Agatha Christie. That's Agatha Christie, a well-known novelist. She's a comely, ample woman with no outward traces of bruise. I scintillated for 10 minutes and then subsided into morose silence. Saturday, 19th February, all day I had attended my private affairs. I've continued to keep out of debt until today, but I have now been obliged to draw cheques for about 2,000. That's about 109,000. Tuesday, 22nd February, walked to have my hair cut. I'm nearly 47, I have very few grey hairs, and then only at the temples. I'm not at all bald. The Raj Club, which I today joined for as a life member, it cost me £160, which is about 8,750 was hit, an extraordinary hole in the wall. Tuesday 24th of February, last night's raid was, I thought, the worst of the war. I managed to park my car in St James's Square and walked about. The Ivy House had lost all its windows. They had various houses in London and all around the country.